Welcome to the whitest house. Slave souls haunt the halls when the light is out. They suck the blood of the poor and the
your entire political identity.
gas of a world that is dying out. Welcome to the whitest house, where every room is a tomb that they lie about. Where you can put your filthy feet on the finest couch, and for the right amount, you can even buy
That's
it
the
out.
essence of your entire political identity. You might be a white supremacist.
Welcome to This Week in White Supremacy, the matching edition, you know, the red, black, and green edition, I guess. It is us. We are, minus Trouble in LS today. You know, he never loved supremacy.
Niggas lost Shaheem.
Oh,
Niggas lost Shaheem, man.
never love supremacy is all it's supposed to be.
Man.
Oh my God. So yeah, our brother Shaheem is under the weather. So, send him some healing prayers. But we are here. I'm Jasiri X. I am the co-founder and CEO of One Hood Media. Mr. Shades.
Yeah, man, it's the Burberry Baron. Sorry with the shades.
The Burberry Baron. All right.
The Burberry Baron, man. Listen.
If you say so.
I
Miracle?
will not today. I don't got nothing to follow up the Burberry Baron. It's just the girl. The country, to the culture, the Southern to sophisticated, the chocolate to the butterscotch, what's up?
I ordered some chicken today and I thought about you.
That sounds so
What is that sounds kind of racist.
No, we had chicken in the last time Miracle and I were in the office, we ordered chicken together. It was the spicy chicken.
Every time I think of fried chicken, I just think of you.
That's a weird okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know the background.
Yeah, Miracle. I wasn't. Yeah, my bad. I know. I was thinking the actual place chicken. The actual place called chicken.
Oh, the actual restaurant.
Where did you get from chicken though?
Okay. The spicy chicken nuggets. Spicy chicken nuggets. Okay, remember, they took like 2 hours to deliver our food last time, man.
Would it be racist for chicken to sponsor This Week in White Supremacy? Would it be racist?
I don't know. Like
sponsored by fried chicken.
Is that like Justin Bieber's dreadlocks?
It was too soon.
You know what? Is it too soon?
We just started. We literally
it's too soon for is it because he has baby locks or whatever, or is it? Do we have an official stance on white people with dreadlocks?
The official stance is no. The official stance, I don't understand it. That's my official stance is no. Why? It looks so bad whenever white people get locks.
Okay, so
I feel
go ahead, Miracle.
How am I gonna say this?
Let our natural sister speak. Let the natural sister speak.
I feel like it's the maintenance and the upkeep. Your hair is just a lock, naturally. You twist it, you let it go. And then somebody likes to say there was a whole meme and thing about the Vikings were not getting their hair braided and locked like the Rastas. It doesn't look the same. You have to tease out your hair and not wash it, and it's not the same. Maybe I'm exhausted, but I feel like everybody knows why we don't want people wearing dreadlocks. They're gonna do it anyway. Maybe I'm waving the white flag on cultural appropriation.
Do we blame Chet Hanks? Do we blame Chet Hanks and the white boy summer? Is that
no? What we blame? Boy.
It just looks like someone took Justin Bieber's hair with 2 handfuls petroleum jelly, Vaseline, and just did that, right? It just doesn't look like it. You see locks they look good, you see good looking locks, you get me, right? Wale's locks always look fantastic. I wish I had Wale's hair. You get me? Right, but Justin Bieber is not going to look like Wale. Remember what Busta Rhymes used to look like in the 90s? You get when Busta's locks look good. Justin Bieber, it looks like someone turned him upside down and swept the floor with him, and then just put him right side up, and he was like, "Yeah, I got locks now."
And also, it's if you want to be down with black people, why can't you just fight white supremacy? Why do you gotta look like the black people you want?
That's what I'm saying, man.
Weird. I think that is weird. I think that is weird. Like you start to hang out with your friends, and now you look like your friends. Weird. I think that's just weird. And be yourself. Be chill. Wear your hair.
It is very fetish. Like
weird.
it's too fetishy to me. Like, you know, we're not over here with hollandaise sauce and and like Jello molds and everything. You know what I mean? Like, why?
I do like a good hollandaise sauce. I know how to make it myself too.
But yeah, it's like
salt, pepper, Dijon.
A man like me don't do sauce. I like hot sauce and mustard. That's it. Barbecue sauce on occasion.
Has Justin Bieber commented on this? I mean, has he said anything about it?
He said, yeah. He said, "Nigga, leave me alone." He harmonized "nigga." That was his.
But that is weird because it does seem to be like a thing of like, why can't you just love a culture? Like why, why do you feel the need to like dress up, like play dress up or do these other types of things? Why can't you just, say I love this? Or even better, like you said, Miracle, why can't you just fight white supremacy? Like, why can't you just say, hey, I'm gonna use my platform, I'm gonna use my resources and money, I'm gonna, donate to these organizations, I'm gonna push forward these efforts, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it seems to me kind of like, and we talked about in pre-production, like he has people around him, but it seems like he's not necessarily getting the greatest advice. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But I mean, I guess does he get
I'm not saying y'all are like the weakest links again, but I am saying that sometimes the black men of a male persuasion really do not be setting the correct boundaries for people to be in these spaces. I just want to say that if y'all would be like, bro, don't do that, he wouldn't do that. But y'all be like, oh my God, he's one of us now. And you got him and DJ. Let me stop. Because
this is why I'm gonna push back with that, because like those sisters that was letting that white girl say it in the Bay when she jumped in that Uber and she started calling nigga and everything. Those wasn't no black men.
Those was
black women that allowed this.
Her black boyfriend. But
her black boyfriend wasn't there.
And her black boyfriend wasn't there. Gave her the black card that everybody else was like, okay. So first of all, I mean, that was not my people. So I blame again on the men.
I want to say this. Justin Bieber is from Canada. I'm from Toronto. There's two totally different places.
No, Toronto's in Canada.
Nah, listen, Toronto and Canada are two totally different things.
That is your friend. That is your cousin.
Plus, where Justin Bieber's from was like 3 or 4 hours from where I grew up. Like, it's not even remotely close. So if he came to my neighborhood and tried that, man gonna stop that from the gate. He gonna get checked.
Y'all would have cut it. Y'all would have beat him up and cut it.
Listen, there wasn't even no white people in my neighborhood. It was just all Jamaicans and Trinis. So,
well, I mean, maybe that's why he got dreads, because he was he was influenced by the Jamaican.
Justin Bieber ain't never came to Malvern.
So
that
anyway,
man never came to my neighborhood.
I mean, I guess if Drake can meld the different ethnicities and accents, maybe it's a Canadian thing. Because
maybe right, still in swag. Maybe that's. Does he get? Let me see. Let me just ask one more question. We didn't intend to start with Justin Bieber, but hey, we're here. Does he get, he put Martin Luther King on his album, like, does he get credit for trying, or is it just like, nah, Justin, like, just be you and keep it moving? Like, does he get credit for trying? What was the point of
putting Martin Luther King on an album in 2021? Like,
to let his white fans know.
You're not Sam Cooke. Like, you're not Marvin Gaye.
He was making an R&B album, and then all the award shows put him in the pop category, and he was so upset. He was trying so
hard. He got Martin Luther King.
I'll
show you.
He was like, wait,
I'll put Martin Luther King on
my sleeve. But yeah, it's like you're not Sam Cooke, you're not Marvin Gaye.
Yeah. You couldn't find anybody more recent, right?
Yeah, like you could have put. I mean, for all that, you could have put if he could have put Dr. Umar on his album.
So I guess trouble's not here. I guess we just go on.
He's too far. He's still trying to get his score up.
I do find it, and this is what I say. I find it weird, and I don't know. Maybe y'all can explain to me. I find it weird. Like, Dr. Umar is always by himself.
Yeah,
and
always.
It's like,
and that's telling. That's very telling.
That's weird to me, because it's like, you can't build and run a school by yourself, dog. Like, maybe
Dr.
maybe
Umar is
if
like,
you-
he's like,
I don't want no Dr. Umar smoke.
Where is his?
call?
No, I'm just asking.
Drop the Addy, and then we gonna have you beefing. And
No,
I'm
just
like,
asking.
no.
I just want to know, like, does he have a staff? Like, does he have an assistant? Like, I know you never see anybody with, and I mean, I've seen him in person. I've been at conferences with him. I've never seen him with anybody else, and I find that super, super weird.
This is why.
If you,
This is why. Let me tell you why. All right, let me tell you why. When the 5 Planeteers come together and they summon Captain Planet, do they fight? No, Captain Planet fights. So Dr. Umar is the Hotep Captain Planet. So it's David Banner, Mark Lamont Hill, Young Pharaoh, and all them
Do
niggas.
not do Dr. Mark like that.
yeah, don't
Do
put
not
Dr.
do.
Umar Hill like that.
Do not do. No. Do
Mark
not
Lamont
do
Hill isn't
Dr.
on that.
Hill.
Yeah.
No, I see something. I seen something on Twitter. It was like, how does I know Dr. Mark Lamont Hill was upset that Daniel Kaluuya just won an Oscar. Like all the ADOS people is tight. But it was just funny. Like Dr. Umar is the Hotep Captain Planet. He do all his dirt by his lonely.
Yeah, I don't think Mark Lamont Hill is in that same category, but it is just weird to me.
It was just jokes. Don't kill my jokes.
It is weird to me though that
dark skin day.
It's just weird to me that Dr. Umar, like, you know, amazing. It was a good interview. You know, he said a lot of.
He was on point.
Wasn't a good interview.
Who said that?
Miracle has.
Oh, I thought he was on point.
Miracle, tell us why it was terrible.
I didn't say it was terrible. We are not listening. I am trying to start 2021 over again without beefing with folks. In the Ramadan month. But what I will say, I appreciated that Dr. Umar basically called y'all out for not supporting Ma'Khia Bryant and not doing what y'all was supposed to defend and love and protect and respect Black women. I appreciate that. The problem it's not the problem I have with Dr. Umar. The problem I have with y'all men folk is that, like, women will say these things 24/7, 365, and y'all be like, whatever. Let one man say this is what these Black queer feminists says, and all of a sudden the world has been rocked. You're just oh my God. I could really, you got people out here protesting, talking about Biden hasn't done enough. Hell, even Tamika was on the BET stage talking about we demand justice, Joe. Now the Dr. Umar.
Yeah, you know what? That is a great point. That is a great point, because it is like, and that's often how it is. It's like a woman will say it 100 times, and then a man says it, and then everybody like runs with it because it is Dr. Umar. So I agree with you on that point. I also agree with you, like debate. You know, I think, you know, and DJ Envy was on there trying to defend this cop. And anytime you start a sentence off with, you know, well, I guess I'm a coon, you might as well just stop talking. You know what I'm saying? Like, the minute you say I guess I'm a coon, you're 100% right, bro. Like, you know, go ahead and be a coon. You know what I'm saying? But you're absolutely right. I mean, at least he did say those type of things, but it is stuff that Black women has been saying over and over again. And I guess what? Ain't gonna be no school without no Black women. I don't know what he plans on doing or how he plans on building. Ain't gonna be no school.
Maybe this is his rebrand. Maybe he realized that, and now this is like his rebrand. So now he got to come and get the Black women on his team. But I know, because Black women have always rode whatever for Dr. Umar and and the other one. So maybe, you know, this is him growing up and understanding that his politic needs to advance a little bit, and people really don't be out here for Black women. So maybe I'm not saying he's gonna be like a feminist, but I'm saying maybe it'll help him like engage politics a little differently.
He probably definitely will not be that, but so yeah, we definitely had a whole different place that we were going to start. We did not.
It's better we started this way. It's better we started this way.
Burberry bearing.
Yeah, because you know, last episode was pretty heavy. It's a lot of heavy stuff. What are they, bro? You promoting these European Burberry chickens? Stop promoting these white-owned businesses on This Week in White Supremacy.
You know, they don't kill animals. You know, they're vegan. You know what I mean?
Here he go.
Lodge up the
What?
Burberry.
Burberry?
Sounds like
No,
neoliberal.
Yeah, they don't use leather. They use animal products.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they got locks now too, huh? Right? They trying.
They probably.
Right?
They probably
they're
do.
gonna a Dr. King Burberry mashup, and then we're gonna love them as well.
Sounds like-
yo,
Is
if
that,
they did that,
is that we doing
Sounds
right
like
now?
soft capitalism to me.
100%.
hey,
So
listen,
we did one. Okay, so we do have stuff that we have to talk about,
some
and
serious
we
shit.
don't.
Some serious. shit.
Yeah. So we didn't want to go. I know, like last week was the police episode, and god damn it, police. It's almost like they was like, "Yo, wait till you see what we did."
Yeah,
this
hold
week.
my beer.
You know what I'm saying?
Hold my beer.
Because it was mad more police stuff. But I do want to start with, this thing that came out in the Guardian, which said that basically police killings of Black Americans amount to crimes against humanity. This international inquiry found, and they said basically this was a group of international human rights experts from 11 countries. They issued a report saying that the killing of Black people by police in the United States is crimes against humanity. They're saying that they're calling for the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court to open an immediate investigation. And they basically said that, they examined all of the facts. What do you all, one, and I'll start with you, Miracle, like, what do you think about this? And two, like, is this going to change anything?
So, because I used to want to be like an international human rights lawyer.
You wanted to be the lawyer at the
I did,
United
yes.
Nations?
Like we charge genocide, right? So
Yeah.
the United States is not a signatory with the ICC. Even with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights with the UN, the United States has put in reservations, which basically says that the laws do not apply. So the international courts do not have jurisdiction in the United States because apparently, our war crimes and our genocide, we just ignore and pretend that they don't happen.
They're more important.
While we, bomb and invade other countries when we elect genocide over there. And so, no, what it does is create international pressure. But if you look at the stuff in Tigray, the stuff in Yemen, the stuff in Palestine, their world is basically imploding right now. So there's not enough international pressure to force the U.S. to do anything. What it does is basically embarrasses the United States so that, like, when we now try to go and talk about policing in other countries, people can throw this report in their faces.
Right. If you try to talk about China or Iraq or Iran, it's like, yo, y'all over there killing mad Black people. You know what I'm saying?
And so that's what it does. So maybe because the United States likes to be the police of the world, they'll actually do something with policing because they want to be embarrassed. But there's no truth, there's no enforcement that comes with this type of it. It can still happen, and it'll allow for like people to put stuff in petitions and make arguments, but there's no like legal ramifications for this investigation. Number one, but I would love to see it happen. I would love to see a trial. I would love to see people present data and evidence, and I would love to have convictions and absentia. I think that would be great. But it just won't do anything. Like, it's very hard. Even when I know we're going to talk about Louisville in a second, it really just the way we do our, because there is no will for the powers that be to actually change policing. Nothing with policing ever gets done.
Right. You feel the same, Farouk?
Yeah, 55, 60 years ago, Malcolm proposed that to take it to the UN to bring, some type of a binding resolution or a sanction against the United States for crimes against humanity. I would like even take it a further step to see police officers get tried for war crimes. You know what I mean? Because of the just war is there's a war on drugs, there's a war on crime. So we are technically survivors of war. And the way they treat us. So these police officers are handling prisoners of war. I would love to see police officers brought up at The Hague. You know what I mean? Like, that's where they should be tried. But the UN to me is a joke. As a Muslim, you can't have any faith in the United Nations. I'm not going to get into that conversation, but it's like, you know what I mean? But I figure, it's not anything new under the sun. To me, it's just like, if Malcolm and, our ancestors and, the people are pioneers, we're talking about this 60 years ago. and we're
True.
having the same conversation.
Same conversation.
In
It's kind of wild.
2021,
Right.
we're having the same
right.
exact conversation.
Same
You know,
stuff. Right.
Larger, John Carlos and Tommy
that.
Smith. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, but I think you're right, and I think like if Henry Kissinger's still walking around and not getting charged for war crimes, if George W. Bush and H.W. One of them, H.W. died. Well, George W. Bush is running around like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what that is. Then obviously we're not going to get these cops. Like if we can't get these major,
Obama,
violators,
technically Obama is the biggest war criminal of our generation.
I mean, you could also argue that, right? You could argue Obama, and so like if we're not going to bring them to fruition, then we're not going to be able to bring these police officers. But like you said, I think it does bring up an interesting point. And then like Miracle said, I mean, it's an embarrassment to the United States, but the reality is, and I think like kind of like will it create that will? Because this week we saw Anthony Brown Jr. That's a situation where I guess now the judge is saying they're not going to release this video to 30 to 45 days. The family said they saw the video as the execution. They even saw an edited version of the video. You had a case in Virginia where Isaiah Brown gets shot 10 times by a police officer who just had given him a ride. There's video that came out of a brother that a Latinx brother who the cops had the knee on his neck for over 5 minutes. It was video this week of LA police punching a woman in the face who was handcuffed. You have Cleveland attempting to reinstate the police murder of Tamir Rice, as if you said, like, what could you possibly do during this time that would be a worse look? Oh, while all this stuff is going on, why don't we try to reinstate the person who murdered Tamir Rice in like 1 to 2 seconds that lied on his application? So like, I guess let's start with the Anthony Brown Jr. Like, what do we do now? I mean, and I'll start with you again, Miracle. A judge said they're not releasing this video. We were told body cameras would change something by, a lot of folks that were on this policing that were, of course, obviously the less radical ones that were like, oh, we just need body cams. We got a body cam. It shows by all accounts what people are saying, that a straight up execution. They edited the video. We're not going to be able to see the video. Like, where do we go from here?
Abolition. Abolition.
You always gotta take that pause, man.
That's where abolition is like the only solution possible, because if we think about it, people do not, and I say this again, and people get upset when I say it, people do not care about Black people. People do not care about poor Black people. This idea that we were going to shame folks into like watching violence be inflicted upon Black folks, and then I was going to make them change the way they view policing. When again, on January 6th, those people said, why are you here with us, officers? You should be out there shooting and harming Black Lives Matter protesters. People expect police to be violent. People expect police to harm Black folks. And when they watch these videos, they just get that validation, and they just get that assurance that policing is operating the way it's supposed to, which is to regulate and subjugate Black and brown folks. So what we have to do is move towards abolition. What we're seeing with these body cams is they're withholding the evidence. They're playing with the videos. They edited the video. And they also edited the Ma'Khia Bryant video. They cleaned that up and sped it up and then slowed it down. So they're actually doctoring and tampering with evidence and pushing it out into the public. So when we're talking about propaganda, we're also talking about the fact that these body cameras are literally edited out. When they're put out, they redact people's faces. They redact the numbers. So you can't even know who these officers are, and it's not changing anything. And what it's really doing is just creating unnecessary trauma. I think we have to record police violence, any type of state-sponsored violence, for a means of like creating a record, but it's not doing these convictions. We see that like almost 50% of Republicans think that Derek Chauvin should have been acquitted. It's like he's choked somebody, like he lynched somebody. He stopped somebody from breathing, and you think it's okay. And so I think we have to understand that we need to be more radical and revolutionary. As you know, my great sister from California said, we need to be more confrontational because these systems are not changing. And I think we have to like alter our demands and understand that compromising isn't working. Giving police billions and billions of dollars to get militarized equipment to come regulate our cities is not working. So we need abolition, we need community investment, and we need communities to show up for each other, to learn how to de-escalate, to learn trauma response, to learn how to respond to shootings, to learn how to engage folks, because the police are not going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a great point. If you watch that video and then said, 50% of Republicans are saying he should have been acquitted, I mean, you're basically saying you're okay with Black people being murdered by police, point blank, period. And then if you say, if you look at the George Floyd video, the 9 minutes of that video and say Chauvin should have been acquitted, but then look at the Capitol riot where you had white people beating up cops. You know what I'm saying? Like CNN is doing an interview with this police officer who's calling for that body cam footage to be released to show how brutal it was in these white people attacking cops, and that they should be let free, and that should be downplayed. What you're basically saying is you don't care about Black people being beaten or killed. That's what you're saying. I mean, and ultimately it's just pure anti-Blackness, pure and simple. Farouk?
Policing is trash. Like the current state of police is trash. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Zero stars. Do not recommend.
Yeah. Like, very ghetto, very ghetto.
Trailer park.
Yeah, very trailer park. I'm sorry, very trailer park. Yeah,
I still classes regardless.
Yeah, like we're rocking with that from here on out. Very trailer park. Okay, let's get that.
Very suburbanite.
A man like Tyler Perry went out and said something to the effect like, I'm not going to hate anybody because they're a police officer. But he referenced it, and he referenced it in context of as if that alleviated police from responsibility, as if policing is an ethnic group or a group that's oppressed people. No, that is a career choice. Right. Exactly. So police officers maybe morally stand right, like, stalwart individuals. As the person, but the system that you uphold is trash. Policing needs to go, right? And
just a great example of that, the sister in Buffalo, right? It was a Black woman police officer. She stopped another police officer from choking a young Black man, and she was fired. So, like, she was morally correct and right in that. And by all accounts, her actions that day as a police officer probably saved that young man's life.
Right.
Even though she was fired for it. So you make a great point that there can be individual police officers that are good, morally right person, but policing overall, and like you said, what we don't see is like, where are the police officers saying, wait a second, where are the police officers in Cleveland saying the last thing we need to be doing right now is trying to get Timothy Loman his job back when he lied on his application and then shot Tamir Rice within 2 seconds of pulling up, and then didn't even have the decency to give him any type of first aid. Like, that's what come on, man. This has to stop.
What I have the issue with, and then, I always talk about this, is property policing, and then the origin of policing is returning property. And at this time, us as people were considered property. There's no protection of human rights. Our humanity is not recognized anywhere in the fabric of the Constitution. Police officers are a response to crime. They do not prevent crime. They're a response. You phone the police when some shit happened and they pop up. Allegedly, that's how it was supposed to work.
Yes.
When they come in response to Black people, it's to eliminate. It's to neutralize. It's to subdue. It's to subjugate. It's to arrest. It's never to assist. It's never to serve and protect.
Correct.
We even seen that. You referenced Buffalo. We seen that when a police officers matched up that old white man and bust his head and leave him leaking on the cement. Right? The discourse around defund the police is never around that. It's about, we're talking about abolishment here at this point.
Right.
Police reform just leads to more money for the police. It leads to more training. It leads to more accessibility. It leads to more resources. Which at this point, fuck all of that. We need these motherfuckers gone. We got we got to abolish this whole system because we're just pumping more money into them and putting, you know what I mean? You put lipstick on that pig all you want. We're still gonna get the same result. You're
just waiting for another incident, and I think that's what. If there's not going to be any fundamental, and this is what this summer is showing us. Like, if there's not going to be any fundamental changes to how we are able to get and collect and have all these guns, there's gonna be multiple mass shootings. I mean, that's just the result. That's the result. And if there's not going to be a fundamental change in the way we do policing, it's going to be more names, more hashtags, more people killed. I mean, that's what and what we're saying to me, and this is what we have to begin to brace these politicians and these folks, is when you're saying, no, we don't need to fundamentally change policing, you're basically saying you're okay with Black people being brutalized and murdered. Because that's going to be the result, and we're seeing it happen over and over again. We saw, and not only that, I mean, we saw police murder, and then, you know, the city where Kim Porter lives spent $90,000 to fortify this. If I was a taxpayer in that goddamn, I don't know what the name of this is, I'd be at the den. Somebody got to go. I'm running for mayor. Something got to change, because if you're spending $90,000 of my money to protect a woman who shot a boy over nothing, a 26-year-old police veteran that couldn't tell between her gun and her taser, and my tax dollars are going to this. This is ridiculous.
I mean, that was a bunch of Virgils that went for that. But what it was, but my thing is, like, why didn't they just call the Oath Keepers? Why didn't they just call these white supremacist organizations that they work with and say, hey, go post about, like, I don't understand what is the benefit of these agreements. I mean, working with these organizations, if, you know, for time support and protection, you can't use them when they're supposed to be a line of defense. I'm very confused. But like, like,
get all them Capitol riot folks to get around her house and protect
her. There, they like to have walls and barriers and things.
Yeah, y'all like to dress up and have your little, you know, machine guns. You know what I mean?
You notice the waste, but like, also, I think that this year is going to be heavily violent. Like, people have been cooped up in the house. People have lost social skills. People have lost the ability to communicate, to perceive, death and all type of stuff. People just wild. Like, and I think that it's going to be a very violent year. And I don't like we're prepared for it. And we've asked for, like, mental health resources. We've asked for social workers. And nobody has put the support out. And I don't think we're going to be prepared for what happens when all these kids go back to school in the next couple of weeks, and they're going to be fighting. And then what's going to happen, you know, when all these adults go back to work, and now you got to, like, work with that annoying colleague again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we haven't.
That's a good point.
It's going to be such a breaking point.
I have an annoying colleague.
Who?
You know what, man? I love him like my brother, man.
Are you talking about me?
Listen, as long as it's not me.
When I come back to the office,
man, you're never on time. You're never gonna be at the office when I'm at the office.
I don't never sit in my corner.
This nigga gonna let me. Yo, I'm about to be at the office. 3 hours later, I'm like, yo, I'm about to leave. He's like, I'm about to pull up. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yes. So anyway,
but we don't call cops on our folks.
Yeah, we do.
So I just think that, like, if these officers are so amped up now, what's it going to be like when summer hits, and then vaccinated summer hits? And I'm not prepared.
It's definitely like you need more than a mask to protect yourself against what's coming. And you were saying, Farouk?
No, you know, you and I were talking about before earlier this afternoon, just about, like, my reservations about the summer, and some things that Miracle has been saying has just kind of been, like, you know, echoing throughout my head. You know, since really Monday, since the Anthony Brown case, kind of came to public attention. And I remember, you know, when you sent that to the group chat, I woke up for support, and I seen it. And it kept me awake, right? It just that, and I said this last week about just, like, how quickly any of us can expire at the hands of police, and it could just be virtually any black person you know can just be gone like that. And you know, this brother was executed. You know, dash away all the mother
shot in the back of the head. Shot
in the back, bro. There's no justifiability to that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not in danger. So, what is coming this summer? I hope. You know, like, listen, like, you know, we enjoy commentating on these things and all of that. You know, but like, this is exactly what they talk about on the alt-right about some civil war. But the thing is, it's like black people aren't armed through this. We're victims. We're being victimized.
Yeah, we're not fighting. It's not like we're arming up and fighting back. And so I did have, and I think, I don't know, did we ask this week or last week? I don't remember. But, you know, you have supposedly, you know, the Biden-Harris, you know, administration, they're investigating Minneapolis's police. They're investigating supposedly Louisville police now. Like, once again, is that going to... That's not going to change it?
No. Okay, so again, and Louisville may be different because there are allegations of like child exploitation and sexual assault with some of the Louisville complaints. No, what happens when the Department of Justice goes in and investigates? They're like, oh my God, you've been accused of this bad thing. Oh my God, you did this bad thing. Oh my God, it's actually worse. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to hold your hand and try to get you to stop doing this bad thing. And then if you don't do this bad thing for like 5 years, we'll like give you some money and say like you're A-okay. Very rarely do people get fired, prosecuted, and disbanded, which means like they just do away with the police departments, even if they have been found to violate people's civil rights. The benefits of having a consent decree and an investigation is it puts on record and a public record all of the issues and complaints. So in Louisville, there is an allegation that police officers are partnering with gentrifiers, private interest groups to basically condemn certain sections of certain blocks so that eminent domain can happen, so that the city can take this land and sell it to developers who can make millions upon millions of dollars. That happens all the time. Eminent domain, for those of you who are not aware, is basically this judicial policy that says that your local government can seize your private property. They can take it if they can A, use it better than you can, or B, it's like a public nuisance. And so what a lot of places try to do, and especially when gentrification comes, they try to say, oh, this is a blight on the community. Oh, there's been a fire here. You know, all these fires start happening, all these shootings start happening. Oh, we got to take this over, kick people out. And so because of that pressure, officers have been lying, falsifying evidence, planting drugs on folks, assaulting Black folks, all type of stuff, targeting Black motorists so they can get this data, which is why, again, data will not save us from white supremacy. And so this consent decree really probably will not change anything unless there is like egregious criminal activity on behalf of these officers. And some of these allegations are very troubling. So something may happen. But Pittsburgh was under a consent decree. You know, we got a new police chief. Then that police chief was ran out, and then we went back to policing and assaulting and harming Black folks. Things do not change unless there is a will. And there is literally no motivation from any politician who holds power. There's individual politicians, but no mayor, no governor, no senator has basically said, I will not fund police. I will end policing if you don't do A, B, and C. And so that is why these consent decrees do not hold weight. But
I mean, I think the opposite. The opposite have happened, and it kind of touches on, like you said, what like Tyler Perry said, was like, you know, oh, I don't hate a Black person, a white person, an Asian person, a Vietnamese person, a Muslim person, a police officer, and it's like, well, wait, that's not a distinction. But at the same time, these police officers are, you know, people are passing these Blue Lives Matter bills that are protection for these police officers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we and in fact, you know, to kind of move on to the next topic, not only are we not seeing the will to like charge and change policing, we're seeing like people actually passing anti-protest laws. So we've seen, I think it was in Oklahoma, where they actually passed a law saying like you can like hit, like I guess accidentally hit a protester, and like that's not against the law anymore. I mean, and so I think like not so like you said, when you talk about, you know, what's happening this summer and the possibility of people going back out there and protest, obviously in North Carolina and these different places where it's happening, but it could be, you know, that video could come out and it could be, we could see this mass will to protest like we did last year, and now you can actually run us over and not be prosecuted. I mean, what are we supposed to do now?
The thing that's kind of sad about what happened last year is it was like a serving size in order for them to study and how to respond to it and come up with some of the most, you know, egregious and oppressive legislation around protesting. I remember in Pittsburgh when they designated certain areas downtown as anti-protest zones, and I'm like, isn't that
right,
you know, unconstitutional? Like, how can you deny someone the freedom of assembly? But like, this is martial law-ish.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like, when you start stripping away rights based off semantics and, you know, talking about the greater good and all these other things, and, you know, as Miracle reference with eminent domain, there's so many practices and protocols that can just be placed in. But this goes to show you that have they wanted to reform police or do whatever it is in order to keep Black people from being killed, the legislation would have been passed already. They already would have did that shit.
They absolutely can do it. No, you're absolutely right. And just to go further in this law, it says basically the law increases penalties for demonstrators who block public roadways and grants immunity to motorists who unintentionally kill or injure protesters while attempting to flee. This is after we saw in Florida where they passed a law about, like, you know, if you caught protesting, like you can't get any like state assistance or go to school or any of these things. So we're seeing like, but just like you said, what it's saying is, oh, you can pass legislation. Like if you wanted to pass legislation to say, hey, this is what we're going to do, a police shoot and kill somebody. These are the things we're going to make it to where you can't work anymore. You're forever denied. But like, we can do all of this, but we're not doing it. We're doing the opposite.
Yeah, it just comes from.
I think it's gonna be very unfortunate when all like these Black Lives Matter protesters' cars just happen to break down on the highway, and like people, you know, just happen, you know, to have to block. I think it's very unfortunate that's going to happen. Even more so, I think that we keep giving this country credit. Like they were sicking water hoses, dogs, and you know, cannons just in the, like, you know, the 50s and the 60s. You know, there was Kent State, like. We've never been able to protest, and I think we have somehow rewritten our history, and we have allowed course correcting of our memory to think that this country allows us the right to protest and the right to push back against capitalism and decision makers. And it does not. People have to protest. I think you have to look at these laws and say, okay, I can't do A, B, and C. So how can I protest? How can I do disruption? How can I create strikes? We're always galvanizing. So they said we can't pass out water to people in line. So the day before, now we got to have snack packs. Now we got to give out people snack packs in the parking lot as they walk to in line. Now we got to give people food plates. You know, all this type of stuff. You know, we're doing all of this preventative stuff because our ingenuity, always, the will of the people will always outweigh these white supremacist structures. But it sucks that a fifth of the energy that goes into these anti-policing bills could literally just be solving the problem. Like you could literally just say, you know what, if you are racist, this career is not for you. We're not going to arrest folks. If you decide you want to fight somebody, that's great. We're going to have an officer send you a summons in the mail. You don't show up. We're going to send another summons. We're going to make you do community service. We're going to give you, if we just change the structures, people would engage more because they wouldn't be afraid of these systems. But alas, we live in abject failure, and this is our reality.
But you do make a good point. I'm coming to you, Farouk. You do make a great point that America's always been violent towards protesters. Always. You know what I'm saying? And like this idea of like, we allow you to protest. is really like not when we look at these pictures. I mean, you had NYPD last year running over protesters and hitting them with cars, and the mayor justifying it. Farouk?
It's always so interesting to me that narrative was taken from the right, or just like, implied that America is violent against protesters. Because if I paid attention in my American history courses, wasn't there a group called the Protestants who protested England and the King's rule and came to the country? I'm saying, no. What I'm saying is America was founded on protest. The King was like, I don't like how you niggas protest. Go to that land and protest.
Paul Revere was a motherfucking protest. Like Revere,
he was a protester.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. It's just like, this country was born.
But he was white.
That's very true. And he was white with wealth and means. And so clearly that shows that, the laws can be amended at any time that they want. But what's just so fascinating to me is that there's virtually no violence at any protest, action, or rally with Black people involved unless it's acted upon to us by law enforcement.
But you know what the problem? Right, let's go back to the founding. See, the issue was that there was absolutely nothing here. See, this is why the founding fathers were successful, because there was nothing here, and they had just a blank.
All right, brother Rick. Okay. You know what? I was so embarrassed.
Let me ask you this, Miracle. Is it just that, like, it's almost like white people are invisible to anybody else? Like, if there's like, a Black movie comes out and it's all Black people, no white people in it, and it's like all of a sudden they're mad because like they're so used to it being like everything, like white people invented everything, did everything, created everything. And then when you actually show in history, like, no, you didn't create math, you didn't create science, you didn't create any of this. And, by the way, this country was, built and off the backs of our indigenous people. But like white people always have to have this idea like that they did everything with nobody's help, and this makes them so great and superior. What the hell's going on there?
I was gonna say something very problematic. I had to bring it back. I think that when you do not value people's lives, you do not value their contributions, and it's very, very simple. It is very, like, literally.
That's a quotable.
Disease is the reason why Europeans gained access to power.
True.
And we do not talk about that enough.
Chemical warfare.
We allow people to rewrite history, and that's why we keep passing all these legislations that say you can't teach critical race theory. That's why a lot of Americans do not travel, because the rest of the world remembers like all the things that we have done. And when you sit there and say that Native American, I wonder why we don't understand Native American history. We've outlawed it. We've banned it. We literally would murder indigenous folks for telling their history. And especially for Rick's Santoriums.
Cut their hair, like all of that.
Yeah.
We have like I would call it a plantation, but we have a death burial site here in Pennsylvania that basically is where they took indigenous folks and forced them to assimilate. And so I do not understand why this is like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Even Mount Rushmore was an indigenous like sacred site, and then you went and put these these murderers and rapists faces on it. You know what I'm saying? But it just like you said, like you said it best. If you don't recognize our humanity, you are not going to recognize our contribution, and that's where we are. Farouk?
To put it in layman terms, what this man said was like, yeah, I know there was like, there was some people here, but that was some bullshit. They ain't real people. Like that was some bullshit.
That's exactly what he said.
That wasn't white Jesus. That wasn't white Jesus and mayonnaise, my nigga. That was fucking Pocahontas. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just wild to me that you can white-splain any part of history and it's okay for them. It's okay. Like, you can just white-splain it and just be like, that's it.
Not only is it okay, and I think this is where we are, because you had this video go viral today where a woman was asking these Southern white people about slavery, and they were talking about Big Mama, the black woman at the church, But really, they basically were saying like this alternative view of slavery, right? The fact that like, obviously they didn't whip the slaves because like they were this expensive piece of property. So why would I want to damage something that I paid for? Like, why would I whip or rape or murder somebody I just paid for? So it was like this idea that like the stories that we've heard in the movies that we've seen about slavery are incorrect. This idea, and then this is after you had Texas law books not even using the word slaves, like, oh, they were workers, migrant workers, And then there was an article that came out today from Louisiana that basically was saying, oh, we want teachers to teach the good part of slavery. So this is actually this isn't just a white, and this is the thing. Rick Santorum was a former senator. This isn't just some random white dude that walked up to the podium. This nigga's on CNN. He's paid to give his white supremacist opinions. So this is, to me, a part of like, you're actually trying to change a narrative. And you want to produce your narrative, and your narrative is not only did white people build, wasn't nobody here. What? A couple of Native Americans, they wasn't doing shit. And we got some slaves, but obviously we treated them well because they were our property and they were expensive.
One of the things that in Django that I love when they showed about the dialogue was when they say sell her cheap after Django ran away, after, you know what I mean? So like, I don't think people that don't have the context that knows what that means whenever you sold a person cheap at the auction block, that means that you could brutalize them to death and you weren't losing any money. There was no return investment on that. So if we're looking at it from a financial portion, that's one of the most disgusting things, even considering the fact that humans are high value property. Humans are not value property. We're human beings. So that narrative is still fucking whack. Like it's still a trash narrative. But I don't know where this new sanitization and revisionist history of slavery became like a prudent thing to teach in education systems. But it's very triggering to me as someone who's a former educator. And like, for me, I can trace slavery back in my history. My father was born in 1950. His dad was born in 1900. So that means my great grandfather was technically a slave. So the shit is like not that far removed from our history. Like, we're not that far away from the shit. And they're already trying to put this spin on it that it wasn't that bad. Like, it was just an enjoyable opportunity. We were there. We should be welcome. We should be happy. Everybody was eating chitlins and pig's feet and just cheering and shucking and jiving and shit.
Happy. But not just and I want to say this, it was not just like we're just arguing this. In Louisiana, this is a lawmaker who's trying to pass a bill requiring public schools and universities in the state of Louisiana to teach the good of slavery. Yeah. And he proposed to ban divisive concepts from classrooms. So he don't, kind of like what Miracle said, this is like, okay, they've already said the 1619 Project is banned. I mean, they literally passed laws to ban this truth from being taught in these schools. They passed laws to say we don't want critical race theory. And now it's like, we want to actually pass laws saying, oh, when you talk about slavery, you have to talk about the good things. Miracle?
Find me a good thing. Find me a good thing.
Well, we all had jobs.
Theory, ethnic history. 1619 Project, but it's always been this way, right? When we talk about slavery, was about Southern rights and not about continuation of enslaving African people of descendants. When we talk about Irish slaves, are the same as African diaspora slaves. This narrative has always been there. What we're seeing is a people fighting for white supremacy, as I think it was Van Jones who said this white lash. We're really seeing people basically cling to this idea that as colonizers and slavers' descendants, they still have the right to have access to Black and brown bodies and to regulate Black and brown bodies for their own benefit. And that's what they're fighting for. We know that the fact that we do not have this access to history is because of white supremacy and white supremacist violence. And instead of recognizing that, they're trying to perpetuate it. That's why we have Cotton talking about we need more prisons. That's why we have people talking about, oh, you can't teach this thing. You can't research this thing. You can't fund that thing, because they're trying to regulate the way Black and brown people navigate and engage in this society. And what is very scary is that they're actually winning. In Florida, a Confederate statue has more rights and protections than a Black person just living and existing. You know, and so when we're talking about what's going on, we have to understand that as Black people, we are a minority in this country, and people are not comfortable with seeing us having free equity and autonomy over our beings. And so there is going to be a white lash, and there's going to be violence, and we're all going to have to ante up and fight back against these laws. But we can't allow ourselves to feel that we can get to be Tyler Perry status and feel like we are safe, that we can get to a place where we get Oscars and therefore like this won't impact us anymore. And that's the problem. A lot of folks are out here wanting to be comfortable and pony up to white supremacy, not realizing that white supremacy will come back and bite them.
Now, you're great to make a great point. Now, Farouk has to leave, so I guess I'm going to be the Wonder Twin. We're gonna form. Just do me a favor. Just Joe, man, just break character and say some problematic shit for me. Jasiri and Miracle, because we have a lot. We have a couple things I do want to talk about before we get off, and we have our white pages. So Farouk, go handle your business. It's gonna be me and Miracle holding it down until the end of the show. See you later.
Don't ruin my show.
So real quick, Miracle, and so I only really have two things. One, you know, I am wearing this shirt, and you just talk about this. We're talking about protesters. The Olympic Committee basically said they're banning protests for the Olympics that's happening in July. Even though, like, you know, when people look at this shirt and we see, you know, John Carlos and Tommy Smith, this was, you know, technically, get in on my shirt. Let me just, boom, y'all see it. This obviously was illegal at the time. Like, this wasn't, you know, it wasn't like they went there and they were like, okay, we're going to be protection of our free speech. And they were persecuted for doing this. They had their medals taken away. It wasn't until like history absolved them later on that we kind of uphold them and celebrate them and what they did. What should our, you know, Black athletes, and of course, this is under the guise of people already mad at the NFL and Colin Kaepernick because folks is taking a knee. People are mad at LeBron James because he called for accountability in the death of Ma'Khia Bryant. What should athletes be doing or thinking about in these moments?
They need to figure out who is the person that has the least amount to lose, like who has the endorsements, who has the Nike sponsorships, and let that person protest. They can also not play, they cannot place, they can stop playing, you know, at certain moments. But you have to protest, you have to fight back. And it's not just American athletes who are protesting, there are people protesting from all over the world. And the whole point of being a democracy is to have your voice heard. What's more beautiful than seeing people from all over the world come together and unite against fascism and anti-Blackness and violence? Like, you need to protest. People should still protest. Like, let folks protest. Let people talk about things. Let people put things on their clothes, their shoes, their outfits. But yeah, I would still protest. I would, you know, make sure you have a way to get out the country. Make sure you have a ticket, you know, make sure you have a safe space just in case they try to like arrest you or, you know, but like, I would still protest or talk about, you know, banning protests. I know that there is an issue that people are worried about, people counter protesting or people bringing up, you know, the situation in China with the Uruguay Muslims. But I mispronounced that. I do apologize. But we have to protest. Like, I think protesting is the best way to use your voice, and you're supposed to. You're supposed to do that.
And it's like, it's wild because it really shows the state of the world. Like, this is how bad the world is, that like you literally have to say, oh, by the way, if you come to the Olympics, please don't use your voice or your platform to be critical of any of these, all of these human rights abuses that are happening in China, in the United States, in Yemen, in Palestine, in all these different places. Like, and it kind of goes back to that like capitalist ideas, like we want your bodies, right? We want what you're good at. You know, we want to be able to make money off you because the Olympics is a gigantic money-making business. It's a business of, you know, they got, you know, TV rights deals all over the place. It makes billions of dollars for the International Olympic Committee. And so it's like, yo, we want to see how fast you run. We want to see how far you throw the javelin or the shot put, how fast you swim, but we don't want you to say anything that's going to be critical of this current system and status quo. And I agree. I really feel like, you know, athletes all over the world should really say, well, then we ain't going. Like if all you want is my body and not my voice, I'm not going. You know what I'm saying? And I think if the NBA players, some of these major players said, nah, then we ain't going. Until you lift that ban, we're not going to go because we don't want to be a part of you making all of this money. And so I know that for some athletes, because this only comes up once every 4 years, and this is kind of how they make a living, it's not economically feasible for those athletes to do that. And I'm aware of that. So like you said, Miracle, the athletes that can't afford to boycott, that don't need this money or endorsements that comes with the Olympics, they should say we're not participating until you allow us to be our full self. And we should say that in whatever area we're in. If you just want my, you know, because I think that's the pushback we're seeing right now. Oh, you want my intellect at the job, but you don't want me to come with any type of blackness. Like you want to utilize my intellect or utilize my, you know, my mathematical or scientific skills, but don't say anything black. Like don't comment about what's happening in this country. Don't be controversial. I think we saw the company Basecamp do something like this. Oh, we're not going to be involved in politics anymore. And so to me, we have to push all the way back on that. If I can't show up as my full self, then I don't want none of it.
Yeah, and I also see what it says about protesting, because how they defined it, because maybe you can change the name on your jersey. People who've been killed by police, you know, just happen to get, that's the week before you get all the tattoos that are justice related. You know, you get your shoes that say BLM. There's different things, you know, you could do for like your uniforms. You do certain, you know, you stand with certain numbers and certain formations. If you're on the swim team, you maybe there's the songs you pick, you know, maybe do a Summer Olympics. So I don't know if there's going to be I don't think there's skating, but you know, the gymnasts can maybe play like Strange Fruit in the background. There's ways, you know, that you can do to get around.
Be creative. You can be creative. Yes.
And you know, use art. You know,
absolutely.
And give if you are someone who's on social media, allow your family or a nonprofit to take over your social media handles while you're at the Olympics. So just do different things to help protest and garner attention.
Absolutely. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm kind of sad it's the last thing because I feel like it is it may be, in my opinion, one of the most egregious stories I've heard in a long time. And this is the University of Penn actually having the remains of members of MOVE from when the city of Philadelphia dropped a bomb on folks that were just trying to live in a different way, ironically, in a way that, you know, damn near half the country has adopted now, you know what I'm saying, being natural and vegan and all of this stuff. But that's neither here nor there. You had, I mean, it's just to compound the fact that it was bad enough that you had a city like drop a bomb on people that were peacefully trying to live. And this is the MOVE folks in Philadelphia. But then that we found out this week that Penn actually had the remains of 2 children that were killed and has been using their remains to do experiments on, to teach classes on. I mean, what in the entire fuck is happening in this country? But then you go deeper and you find out that it's mad universities with mad remains of mad indigenous people that are experiment on it, and that folks aren't. I mean, what the hell? Does it all gotta go, Miracle? Do we gotta tear this down?
It's all gotta go. It all
What
has
the
to
fuck?
go. You're just like, I think Mike Africa Jr. said it best. He said they wouldn't let them live, and now they won't let them rest. The idea that you think it is okay to take remains, precious remains of people, and use it to teach without the permission and consent of the family. So here people are thinking that their loved ones are buried or their remains are discarded, and instead they're on videos, they're on pictures, people, strangers are touching them, all this type of stuff. And it's disheartening. What's even more egregious is there are folks who donate their bodies to science. People do this every year. So it makes it absolutely unnecessary to go and grab remains. But we do this all the time. We go to Egypt. We go to, quote unquote, Mayan ruins. We go to slave burial plot, and we exhume people's bodies because we don't see them as people. We see them as these things that we can hold and possess and study and excavate, and we don't allow people to have the opportunity to live full lives and have dignity in death. And what's even more problematic is this was widely known. No one decided to call, no one at any point in the past 40 years was like, let us call the family. Let us talk to the family. Because I think it would have been different if the family would have known and you would actually doing a teaching about what does it mean to withstand police brutality and police violence and to actually be bombed. Like, what is it? But I saw some of the pictures and the videos, and I think it's appalling. And even more, there have been a lot of universities who've I forgot we talked about a couple weeks ago, who've refused to give bodies back, who've refused to give pictures back, who refused to give identities back. And it just shows how exploited and how these systems are based on white supremacy and capitalism and are just inherently violent. But these are the places that we have to go to get an education in order to survive, in order to be taken seriously in the world. And it's just, I hope that Penn gives the bodies back. I hope that they allow for a funeral. And I hope that, again, we have a serious conversation around ethics. And I know this wasn't a part of it, but we're talking about vaccine hesitancy. We're talking about COVID-19. We're talking about Black and brown people dying. This is why. If you create an educational system that does not value Black and brown folks, they're not going to be a part of the equation when it talks about these rollouts and these engagements and these medical breakthroughs, because nobody wants to be your experiment. This person is 100%. Dead, and you're still using them as an experiment. It's mind-boggling and just unacceptable.
Yeah, and I think you make a great point, because these are you look to academia and it's this is University of Penn and I guess at some point it was in Princeton University as well. And so it's these are these bastions of intellect and morality, at least they pretend to be. And then you have this situation where at no point, like you said, they knew they had it. They knew whose bones that they were. At no point, even how they even got it is in question. How were you even how was the city able to even give, not contact move, but give these remains of children? These are children's remains to this university to just study, and then they openly studied them for years. And so my thing is don't just give it back, because Tamia posted the one article about the one museum that had all of these indigenous African human skulls. It's not just we're going to give these remains back. You owe us money. You owe us the money that you made from the scientific studies you did to these bones. You know what I'm saying? You owe the Moog family millions of dollars, not just, we will give you these remains back if they can even find them. Because I read one report that they're saying we don't even know where the remains are. You owe these people millions of dollars. And like you said, it's a point now where, we should even, we beyond, we know these are bastions of white supremacy. but we really have to begin to question, who we deem as like worthy of certain designations, worthy of being called, like, because that's wicked. This is wicked and this is evil. I don't care how intelligent that you may be. I don't care how many degrees, what your doctorate may be in. This is pure, simply wickedness. And if you can't come up with some money to pay these families, it's going to be a problem, and it should be a problem.
Yeah, and I know a couple years ago there was the bodies exhibit that was going around the country, and that was the same. There was the same pushback because they were saying, "Hey, these are people who've been kidnapped. These are people who've been experimented on. They didn't get permission." And academia really has to have a conversation because the Tuskegee people, the experiment folks, they went to UPMC, right? So when we're talking about all this stuff coming full circle here in Pennsylvania,
right?
Academia has to really think about what is the ethics of how they engage and how they teach and learn folks, and how and what is being also subtly taught. If you can take children and you can work with policing, and like, how are you going to stop policing on your campus if you're working with policing and still dead folks to have your students experiments on and learn from? It's almost unconscionable. And the fact that like nobody was ever like, hey, like, did they donate like, are these donated? Like, how did we get these? You know,
the fact that like that doctor, like when you say, here are some bones. Oh, where are they from? Oh, these are the children of Move. That somebody says, well, wait a second. Do they know? I mean, they're still alive. Like Move is still alive. They're still doing things. You can't be in the city of Philadelphia and not know Move and all of the work that they do. And nobody thought to say, well, wait a second. Do these families know that we have these bones, but just willingly just use them in their experiments? But it goes back to what you said initially, Miracle, about that how deeply rooted anti-Blackness is in this country, that you can do this. And there's no other reason that you can do this than that you're deeply rooted in anti-Blackness and the dehumanization of Black people, that you just don't care. As Michael Jackson said, you don't care about us. You just don't care, because if you did, you would be doing things differently. You would be acting differently. You would be behaving differently. You wouldn't have to be embarrassed before you do things that are always right. You shouldn't have to. You would inherently do them. And the fact that you don't is because of white supremacy. And this is kind of goes back to like why we do this show, to bring this shit to light. But so to the Africa family and folks that Move, we stand with you in demanding not just the return of the remains, but some damn reparations. You know what I'm saying? And when we say, like, just like you said, if you cared about us, we would have reparations, because that's a moral issue. It's a moral issue. And if the Japanese rightly got reparations for being interned in this country, if Jewish people rightfully got reparations for what they're experiencing in Germany, then God damn it, we rightfully should have reparations for what we've experienced in this country. The fact that we have to argue for it, it shows anti-Blackness, pure and simple.
Facts.
Facts.
It's facts. And I will say again, with academia, there's no there is no teachable moments when it comes to white supremacy. And the fact that that's something you need to be coming there and to exploit. I really want to know this processes and procedures. I also want to know, is this still going on? Are you still getting people's bodies? Are you still using them without informed consent and will to teach folks? And what does that mean? Because I know from different medical institutions, and I have friends who are doctors and stuff, people volunteer their bodies all the time to be poked and prodded and all types of stuff. They pay people all types of things. Why are you stealing people's bones? It's such a cultural thing, and it's just like it makes and we wonder how depraved people are, and the fact that the family, the scientist was actually justifying it. There's no justification for that. You were wrong. You thought you were doing something right, but you were wrong because you didn't get permission. And so I'm hoping that we can find these children, give them a proper burial, and move into a more ethical academic inquiry. But I hesitate to think how many other institutions are doing the same thing, and how many other
Right.
Black and brown folks are just out here just wondering, the afterlife because they can't rest.
Right.
Right.
Right. But I
Is that
think,
something that you believe in?
And this is the domino effect, because like after we go through these universities and get our ancestors' remains back, we need to then go to these motherfucking museums. That like we know what you did. You went to our countries and indigenous places and took our shit. All this shit has to be returned. Like at what point you know what you did? Keep your Van Gogh and whatever art you want, and your Mona Lisa and all that. Keep that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we talked about it. The Queen of England has a big ass diamond from Africa and some big ass diamond from India. Well, guess what? These countries are still here. Those people are still there. They still exist. And we need to say, yo, you got money. You know what I'm saying? You got these things. You need to return these things to their original owners. Period, point blank. And it's like, we're asking now. You know what I'm saying? Let me stop before I start.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Because like
but they don't have money.
asking.
And that's the thing. They
We're
don't
peacefully
have
asking now.
the West
That's what
does
I'm
not
saying.
have money. The West does not have resources. The West can, as we're seeing, we have to exploit the global South. We have to take, minerals
This
and
is
fruits
nuts.
and vegetables from all these other places because we've poisoned our water. We have lead in our water. We have poison in our air. So we're stealing stuff from all around the world. We don't have money. Like literally, America was founded on white supremacy because they needed to enslave people to work. Because they couldn't do it themselves. America does not exist. The West, capitalism does not exist without the exploitation and subjugation of Black and brown people, particularly in the global South. Now, that's why we see India being denied resources to have a vaccine. That's why we see places like Mexico, various countries in Africa being denied the vaccine patents. Like,
True. Yeah. Because God forbid, we know, and that's Bill Gates. We need the scientists, as if like you got to be some white scientist to get the patent right, as if these countries, I mean, it's just, it's wild. And I mean, I it makes me wonder, like, did we maybe like, I wonder, like, is Justin Bieber, like, is he reading? Like, has he read a book about like our history? I'm just wondering, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's got to be some type of mass education of folks. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to educate you all, that join into this show, that watch this show, and then hopefully educate you to some action. You know what I'm saying? So like, definitely, support, use your voice and your platform to support, Mike Africa Jr., Pam Africa, Ramona Africa, the MOVE folks, to get those remains back. Use your voice in all of these issues of police brutality to demand some type of real accountability, all of that. You know what I'm saying? We have, and then we're asking people, we have an election coming up. I think this is the last weekend to register to vote. If you're not registered to vote, get involved, help us to change some of these policies and introduce new policies so we can save our damn lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we encourage y'all to do that this weekend. And, just to say, like, there is a lot of Black excellence. I'll think about Tamia now. There's a lot of positive stuff happened. Our brother won the Oscar. That was positive. You know what I'm saying? Like, our sister Disha is tearing everything up with her book, The Secret Lives of Church Ladies, that you support. She's getting award after award coming right from Pittsburgh. There's some other good stuff. Tell us some good stuff. Then let's leave on a positive note.
Some of the things are pretty cool. I don't know her actual name, but like Wavy Wednesday has a really cool mural in Wilkinsburg. Clarkeisha and Inez, they're going to be in the Vogue Italy, Vogue Italia, I should say. We have Boom Concepts, who's getting residencies with people out here winning, doing a whole lot of great cool things in the community. We have organizations like Take Action Mon Valley, bringing everything to the world. We got the independent police review board legislation passed. Shout out to Liv and Bethany. We've got like some really cool things, and one of the things we're gonna for our call to action, Trans Uniting this Sunday at 2:00. We're asking people to come out to 4100 4100 Forbes Avenue to talk about centering Black trans lives and centering Black trans voices. That's going to be this weekend. Also, this weekend's about to be like Black AF.
Yes.
the election cookouts and turnups and communities coming together. So like just come out and support each other this like weekend. We're gonna be there in love.
I do be kind of mad that they be doing the barbecues during Ramadan, but we're gonna be there. We're gonna just, take a deep breath and go and handle our business. You know what I'm saying?
This is my second Ramadan, and because of COVID-19, I've only been able to celebrate iftar once with other folks. I get like the pain, and so maybe we need to do some night. Well, no, I don't. Maybe we gotta be careful. Night events, not actions. Some night cookouts, some late night, food gatherings and food exchanges.
That's a great idea. Maybe we can look at like when is one of the dates towards the end of, and then we could just organize one hood and we can just have a cookout and invite folks to come and just break fast with us and just kind of kick it. You know what I'm saying?
As an invite only,
socially distanced and all that good stuff. Oh, so okay, invite only. All right, I got you. All right, so shout out
JK. Everyone can come. So yeah.
So everybody. Yes. So we're celebrating, the life and the brilliance of August Wilson. August Wilson's birthday was yesterday. So we're just, here's a, Jitney by August Wilson, Fences. We got King Hedley II. We got Radio Golf. Of course, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, one of the most brilliantly well-written plays. Shout out to, Chadwick. He don't have to be recognized by the European establishment to realize one of the greatest actors that we've ever seen. Shout out to Chadwick, shout out to Viola, one of the greatest actresses we've ever seen. So yeah, just, read you some August Wilson, you know what I'm saying? And recognize that one of the greatest playwrights of all time came from Pittsburgh, came from the Hill District. So shout out to August Wilson and shout out to his family and his legacy. And, go watch Ma Rainey's Black Bottom on Netflix as well. It's a great movie. I think that's it. We have anything else on Tilt tomorrow at 12?
I think that is it for programming. We did light this week.
Yeah, we like this week. So yeah, absolutely. So we will see you all next week. We're hoping that we can get a little bit lighter. But damn it, tell these white people to stop doing all this crazy white shit. If y'all can talk to your
and your secret white meetings,
please, like Lord have mercy.
Can we just have a week? We didn't even do our Karen of the week. We didn't even do our Terry Crews of the week.
We forgot about DJ Envy was our Terry Crews. Our Karen was some racist white dude that. I don't even want to show it. It's too egregious right now, but basically yelled, racial epithets at a woman because she had the audacity to like drive by him. And did you want to show?
And he was like, I'm racist. He said he hung.
Can you pull up that Karen for me, John?
We don't have to do it. I was pointing out because we're leaving on a high note.
I did want to ask, like,
with us.
Okay, yeah, don't pull it up. But I did, like, if you watch this, and it was Ohio motorist, I just want to know why this man was so angry. Like, this is what I just didn't understand. But this is the thing.
It's like, racist here. I drove out through, and oh my god,
Miracle. He gets out of the car. Miracle. He gets out of the car. And maybe I can drop the link. Maybe I can.
Okay, Woogie said, "Let's see it." So we can, if you want to pull it up.
He's gonna put. No, John's gonna put in the comments. He's gonna put the link in the comments. But he gets out the car talking about how much I pay $1,000. I mean, like, so if you're making money, if you're making thousands of dollars, like, and you're good, like, why are you so angry? And this is what I just don't understand. Like, why are you, like, the woman, this dude was at a stoplight. He was taking too long. She's doing DoorDash or whatever, Uber Eats, whatever she's doing. And she decided to drive around him. Like, why would that cause you to go into a full-on racist tirade to the point where this man says he has an AK-47 in the car and he's going to blow her brains out? But like, I just want to know, like, why are you so angry? Maybe there's a white person that email me at Jasiri. No, I'm just playing. But I don't understand.
Listen,
And
as
why-
the saying goes, happy hoes ain't hating, and hating hoes ain't happy. So therefore, that money is not making him happy. So he need to figure something out with his life and figure out why he's so mad.
So
But
watch this video. And the black woman is so calm. Like the black woman is so calm throughout the whole video. She doesn't raise her voice, and this dude is inflamed and furious. So yeah.
I would have been listen. If that would have been me, I would have seen me on the street, laid out crying, hyper. Because I'm so scared. Listen,
I mean, anytime
emotional infliction of just all that.
Yeah, I mean, the dude says, "I got an AK-47. I'm gonna blow you." It's like, what? I mean, like at that point, she's within her right to run out of just random up. Like if for anybody that wants to stop me,
self-defense. You were saying you would have defended yourself.
If you get out of your car,
of violence against your life.
Yes, if you get out of your car and start using the N-word on me, and then tell me you got an AK-47 in your car and you're gonna use it to attack me, I'm running your ass full on over and driving home and having my dinner and doing all the things I do right now, and not thinking one solitary thought about it. You know what I'm saying? So please don't do that. Just leave me alone.
There is a Caucasian, just someone with a gun threatening to kill folks.
I just ran this man over. Come get your cousin and then send me your email address because I'm going to email you this video to show you exactly why I did what I did. Pure and simple. You know what I'm saying? Like
racism doesn't make any sense at the end of the day. Like everybody just wants to chill, eat good food, hang out with the friends, watch some cool entertainment, and just live their life.
Why aren't we just like you said, like, okay, people are getting vaccinated, like we can come back outside. Like we should be it's getting warmer. The sun is coming out in Pittsburgh. Like we should be happily going out. What is wrong with you, America? What the hell is going on? Like, so man, well, shout out to
y'all gonna get us in another lockdown. Joe is gonna lock us down because I bet like every time something happens, Joe's like, God damn it! Joe was gonna lock us down, y'all. I need y'all to get it together. I want to enjoy the summer. We have to have together. Just please,
get it together. And so, hoping you feel better, Trouble. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you watch the show, but if you're getting rest, do your thing. Farouk is off, representing one hood. And a conversation. What's the conversation about? What's he doing?
He is
judges
right
or
now,
something.
He's doing talking about avoiding judicial bingo, and I'll put the Zoom link in the comments if you want to hop over and join. Just talking about why it's very important, that you are knowledgeable about the judicial candidates. Farouk has a colorful background, and has survived. He has a testimony, as the old folks say. He has testimony, and so she's just sharing his testimony and why it's very important that you have judges who throw out bad evidence, judges who don't allow police to lie, who are compassionate and empathetic to folks. As part of the Keystone Education Fund, VEAM, APA, New Voices for Reproductive Justice, Take Action on Valley.
Speaking of events, I did see that APA has an event tomorrow with Tamika Palmer, Breonna Taylor's mother, and also the woman who was, they ran up into her house and wouldn't let her get dressed in Chicago. They're having a conversation around, Black women and our rights. So shout out to AP. I think it's APA, Gwen's Girls, and New Voices are collaborating on that. So definitely support that event. That's tomorrow. That's something that folks should tune into as well. So until next week, we are out. Hopefully we'll be back in fully staffed next week, and we'll be like a lot more happy. All right, we'll see y'all. Peace and love. One hood.
Welcome to the whitest house. Slave souls haunt the halls when the light is out. They suck the blood of the poor and wipe their mouth. The last gasp of a world that is dying out. Welcome to the whitest house, where every room is a tomb that they lie about. Where you can put your filthy feet on the finest couch. And for the right amount, you can even buy it out.